Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On this midweek podcast, I'm joined by regular guests, Eamonn Donnelly, and by Spurs fan Dermot to review last night's 2-1 victory in the 197th North London Derby. And remember to check our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said in my intro, I'm joined by regular guest at this stage and regular pundit, Eamonn. How are you, pal?
Evening, Dermot then. Evening, Dermot. I had a roasted parrot earlier there. It's repeating on me. I went into a restaurant last week there. I ordered giraffe neck fillet. And he said, that's a tall order. Well, good. I'm a bit giddy after last night.
He's only had the one can so far, so we're all right.
All right, yeah.
I'm also joined by Dermot.
On a technicality, I can't see you on camera, but look, maybe this show was made for radio, as we know.
I'm also joined by Dermot, our best looking away fan so far this season. How are you, Dermot? As Eamonn says, it's not a pageant show, sadly, so it probably is better stuck to radio.
Little Aussie Ardila is heading them there. I like the Blever Dingham, I Blever the Dingham, and I love the Blever the Dingham.
Great to have you on again, Dermot. Thanks very much. After last night's match, it's great to see a Spurs fan showing his face 24 hours after.
Oh, no. If you bring somebody on the show, Jonathan, I give the respect.
I have to say, I give you a lot of respect, Dermot, for coming on.
Bravery, Dermot, bravery, man. You know.
Yeah, he's sporting.
Bravery or fearlessness, I suppose we'll find out.
He's sporting the Ange Postecoglou beard look at the moment, Dermot. That's when you know you're going through a Spursy of a season. But great to have you on, Dermot. Thanks very much for coming on again. And to Eamonn as well, as always. Into the match review, as always, lads. 2-1 against the Spurs last night. Goals by Gabriel and Trossard in the first half, and Son opened the scoring, of course, in the first half. It's only the fifth time in the Premier League that we've done beating Spurs home and away, doing the double over them. So that was very impressive. I thought Arsenal pressed really well last night in each Spurs player, particularly the first half. It's kind of like the first game under Arteta, against Crystal Palace that time at that season, that real high pressing, and each man went for his man as well. So I thought that was really good last night. You could see we were really up for it, I thought Lewis Skelly was immense again last night. He made a tackle on, I think, Pat Matter Sir in the first half, and that got the fans off the seat. Probably might have been a free kick, but I thought he won the ball pretty well, and I thought all in all he's only grown game after game. There was a great photo actually on Twitter today with himself and Ian Wright. He says he feels $1 million playing for the Arsenal. He must be in dreamland at the moment, a young lad. In terms of the first goal that went in, Son's goal, it was deflected off Thomas Partey. I think he took it really well, Son. In fairness, I think David Ray probably would have saved it if it wasn't deflected. But that's I thought. Apart from up to the goal Spurs had, I thought we were all over Spurs, really. I thought Spurs, the goalkeeper Kinski, quite poor in the corner for the Gabriel goal. It took a deflection off Solanke's midriff and went in. I think he will be a decent keeper, but he took a lot of time on the ball and was nearly caught out once or twice. One in particular was Kai Havertz. Nearly got the ball off, but he made a good recovery save. But I suppose, look, for his first North London derby in that atmosphere, you're supposed to, being that young, you're bound to make mistakes. In terms of Trossard's goal, I thought it was really well finished from Trossard, given a lot of time and space though. But what a pass from Martin Odegaard to set him free. I thought Dragusin could have maybe went a bit closer to him. Pedro was chasing him down, but Pedro Porro, but I thought Dragonson could have got over a bit quicker to try block the shot. But the celebration was quite nice as well in front of the Spurs fans. He'd be adored by Spurs for years to come, I'm sure, after that. But aside from that, really, the second half was kind of really just taking control of the game, I think, for ourselves, just I thought we done it quite well, we should have really added maybe one or two more goals. We just can't. We made a few missed opportunities that should have went in. Porro had a great chance then near the end of the match. They came off the post, nearly cut out David Raya. And then Solanke, aside from that, in the first half, there was a pass from, I think it was Jed Spence, and he narrowly missed it. But I don't want to come to Dermot first. What was your analysis from the 197 North London Derby, Dermot?
Yeah, I think you've kind of hit on a couple of the main points there. I mean, the first half was pretty much Arsenal domination. I'm not sure if maybe it was kind of coming through, but you definitely got the sense that maybe there was a few kind of jitters where even though they were kind of on top, they kind of seemed a little bit early on like it was going to be kind of one of these days where they're going to have all the shots and not much luck with it. But I think when Spurs actually and the Sun goal come pretty much against the run play, maybe kind of seemed to kind of calm them down a little bit, where they kind of continued domination but felt a bit more kind of comfortable, whereas I think maybe some of the decisions in the final third up to that point probably weren't great, but as we kind of inevitably predicted, of course it was going to come, the first one from a corner, and I think the keeper did look nervous throughout. He'd had a good kind of first two games, but he was definitely more nervous on the ball, and I think that it seemed like a pretty deliberate decision with a lot of the corners up to that point to go for to try and punch it out. That didn't work out, obviously, on the Gabriel chance, and there's a degree of bad luck for Solanke at that stage, but that's probably our keeper. And then Arsenal kind of settled in, and it was a really poor piece of play from Basuma losing the ball, which kind of opened up things for Arsenal. I think Odegaard played pretty quick into Trossard, and then he runs with it. And that was also, I mean, a really poor defensive goal to concede, because as well as losing the ball, in the manner they did, I think you're right that somebody should have been covered across. I'm not sure whether it's Dragosin or Sarr to do it, but you can kind of see that when Trossard's kind of getting up ahead of steam, Pedro Porro's pointing, saying, I can't get back there. Somebody needs to cover that off. I think Sarr's far too late coming over. Whether or not it's him or Dragosin who should get there, somebody should be over to get some kind of a block off it. And then keeper, I think, should probably do better on that shot as well. It was well hit by Trossard, but he does get a hand to it, and it's just too weak and goes in. But in fairness, like after the first half, that was Arsenal probably well worth their lead heading into the second half, and that thing seemed to kind of open up a bit. It was a pretty chaotic second half, I thought. Spurs did try and play a bit of ball, but typically they kind of struggled to kind of create too many chances, and even the big chance that kind of got towards the end for Pedro Porro, I mean, it's kind of unclear whether that was a desperate cross or actually a shot. Was that from that kind of a tight angle? But look, I suppose difficult it is to be objective about it coming from fan perspective. I think probably Arsenal were worth the win, but there was some chance towards the end that Spurs could have nicked something there, and definitely I think Arsenal probably should have been able to take some chances in the second half. They got some good ones, but look, we can't have too many complaints. At least it is a case that we kind of are maintaining playing a bit of better form, and look, if there's people coming back from injuries, they might be looking ahead feeling good about it, but no, unfortunately it was a disappointing derby day for them, and I think in particular they'll be really unhappy with how the first half went, where they just couldn't play out at all. And there was a complete refusal where even when they did try and play out, they just kept losing the ball in that transition.
Yeah, I think if, like, in fairness to Spurs as well, we mentioned on the preview show, the injury list you have is your Achilles heel at the moment, but for the players that you did have, it was quite a tight game. I thought there might have been, I thought the scoreline probably would have been a bit higher, but you did kind of play conservative when you had to. I thought Archie Gray and Dragosin, they done fairly solid at the back freeze, but what players stood out for you, Dermot, in the North London Derby last night for yourselves?
I think when the Spurs into things, I thought Bergvall played quite well. He had one or two moments where he kind of it can be a bit rash going into tackles, but I think he's more of a centre midfielder than a kind of true attacking player. Plays a bit deeper, and I think that probably helps the balance of the team. And that midfield, I mean, they were outplayed in the first half, but they showed a bit in the second half. And I think he looks like a good young footballer. And Archie Gray, as I was saying, I think in the preview, I mean, he's not a natural centre back, but I thought he did play well, considering. Dragosin maybe had some moments he was okay-ish, but in general I thought they looked kind of, even though they held on for that early period where they were under a lot of pressure, they did look nervous doing it. So probably Bergvall, and I mean, I think Kulusevski didn't get a whole lot of ball, but he's always quite effective when he does get it, so he wasn't too bad. But it was probably a night maybe more for some of the Arsenal players. In fairness, I think himself and Bergwijn actually had a bit of a moment at quarter towards the end of the game, but young Skelly, Lewis Skelly, I think did look good in fairness on the Arsenal side of things, and I thought he was impressive because I hadn't seen a whole lot of him before.
Yeah, it was really. I thought the first half in particular was really exciting watch. Eamonn, 2 wins in a row now over Spurs. Always nice in the season. But what did you make of the 197 North London derby last night?
Well, I thought that the Arsenal were going to try and take the chaos out of the game early and play with a kind of a chessboard control. But they didn't. They went really at it, like in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I mean, they paced in the team. There was pace in the passing. There was no central defenders taking 7 and 8 touches. The ball was being moved quickly. But I think they probably sniffed out that Spurs were weaker at central defence. So the idea was get it out to the wide players quickly, move that defence around. They were, the Spurs defenders, in fairness, are not as grizzled veterans as some of the guys they're missing. And, Arsenal really surprised me. And when we didn't capitalise on that, Sterling had a great chance, Skelly put a great pass into him. I don't know what he did. I don't know whether he saw, here's a penalty, I just have to stand here and I'm going to get cleaned out. But he definitely stopped his run. And like, Raheem Sterling is not the type that pulls out with tackles. He goes for the ball. I think he was anticipating a contact and a penalty. Whereas if he'd got onto that ball, I think either that would have happened or he'd got around or over the keeper. And then for the Tottenham goal, I think Thomas Partey is taking a bit of stick because he kind of ran alongside. Who was the lad that carried the ball out, Dermot? Very, very pacey. He ran the length.
Sarr, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Sarr.
Yeah. I think the decision Thomas Partey had to make was, if I try and get over to him and I don't have the pace to get him, and I use my momentum to get over to him and he skips by me, well, then I'm gone. I'm out of the game. So if I just run alongside him until he's going to make that incursion into the box. Now, as it happened, he went right down to the end line and Partey got the block in for the corner. Yeah. So I can understand why Thomas didn't go over and try and make the tackle, because if he'd have gone and missed, we were wide open, right? But then when the corner came in, I can't believe that we left what's his name? Son Mon, right? Young Monsoon. I just want to say, I said it on the show the other night. I am going to bring that man to IKEA and flat pack his head into a wardrobe, right?
I knew he was on the score. I knew.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. But when the corner came in, we left. Well, you have a better chance of scoring when you're left on the edge of the box on your own.
On your own.
Now, in fairness, he kept it down very well. I think it was Saliba had nicked off.
Was it Saliba as well?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
So that was that. I was confident, though, that we would not go in at halftime losing. And they got, like, in fairness to Kinski, I don't know whether you were listening to the commentary. I think it was Rio Ferdinand was saying, somebody's got to wake this guy up and tell him this is the North London derby in terms of the ball at his feet. But I thought he was very impressive under the corners. I mean, he was getting rained on by corners, and he made a great connection with every one of them. But the corner that beat him left him in no man's land. I don't really fault him for that, because he's after coming for every one of them and making a success of it. And then this one comes over, it's gone over his head.
Yeah.
But Gabriel's attack on the ball was vicious.
Yeah,
it was vicious.
It's always constantly.
It was. I mean, he almost had to kind of do an Olympic gymnast kind of pose to get into the position, and then to get the. Now, okay, it bounced off Solanke. I think giving Solanke an own goal for that is unfair on Solanke, and not giving the goal to Gabriel is unfair on Gabriel. But so we got back and did. I thought we would. Just
for cutting across. Sorry, in the lead up to that goal, do you agree that that ball came off Leo Trossard?
Oh, I meant to cover that.
Yeah,
It was never a
sorry.
corner. It was
Yeah,
never a corner. But look, this is not like conceding a penalty.
yeah,
Like if the referee gives a corner, right, you can say never a corner, but your next priority has to be defend the bloody thing,
yeah.
right? You know, get on with it, like as Dave O'Leary said.
Save it over here.
As I say, I faced many corners in my day, 923,000 corners, and I always got on with it at the end of the day. But and that's what you have to do. Yeah, you know. And I thought the Spurs players actually lacked concentration on the corner because they were too busy giving out. But like, argue about that later. If it's a
Later.
penalty decision, that's different, right? But
Yeah,
this was a corner. So then we get it and Party makes a great interception. Uh, Trossard was very brave to hit that ball because he could have done the easy thing, cut inside, check back, maybe just put a cross into the box. But he decided, do you know what? We haven't been shooting. It's off his weaker side. It was
yeah,
a good connection. Yes, the keeper should have saved it. But if you get a good shot on the target, you make the keeper work, you
yeah.
know? Um, so
In
that
terms
was
of well, Eamon, to the lead to that goal, how impressed were you with the closing down on Bissouma, who lost out, and then that threaded through ball? It was a perfectly weighted ball from Odegaard, wasn't it, into the path?
yeah, but both goals came from us getting tight. The
Yeah,
first one, Lewis Skelly, was never a foul. Because if you look at the angle that he went in, he actually turned his body sideways and went in really strong with a side foot along the ground, almost like a kind of a pitch and putt. You
yeah,
know, it was a really clean, hard tackle.
yeah,
And then the Party interception. Not only was it brilliant, if he didn't make it, we were in trouble because they were breaking out. You know,
yeah,
so Odegaard's ball was great, but Odegaard was on form last night.
yeah. He was
Odegaard
actually, yeah,
Odegaard began to run the show. He
yeah.
began to run the show. Then the second half comes out, and then Ange, you have to love him. He just decides he's going to cause chaos. Right? I mean, one of the commentators said when he took one of the forwards off while he was putting another five forwards on, said, spoil sport. You know, he just decided, no, we're going to go for it. And I think Arsenal kind of reacted to that well on the base that they said, okay, if they're going to have all these forwards on, right, what we're not going to do is leave ourselves open to the counter attack. We then played that kind of controlled football that I thought we'd start the game with. Tottenham were a lot better in the second half. Um, Havertz had a good chance with a header, but by Tottenham making the changes, Havertz actually came into the game. Havertz didn't get a touch of the ball apart from Kinski for the
Yeah,
first half hour. But when Tottenham changed the formation, Havertz started running amok into the
yeah.
channels, right?
Channels.
And it was him finding space. He found himself space for the header. Probably should have done better. But he was causing problems. And then that brings me on to Odegaard's chance. He's finding a new way to miss every game,
Yeah,
right? He should write a little kind of mid-season booklet, 101 ways to butcher a chance. I mean, he's in front of the goal. He only has to pass it in. He makes it 3-1, and we can all relax and have a cup of Horlicks, you know, and all of that type of stuff. And he misses it. And then the last 5 minutes were chaos.
yeah.
I,
That
uh,
was it.
I actually think, Dermot, uh, your lad Porro went for the near post. I think he's seen Raya moving out.
So yeah,
Went for it.
100%.
I
Yeah,
think looking at it again, I think Raya would have saved it.
yeah. His hand was covering that.
His hand is across,
Yeah.
but there was a bit of chaos there. But just one or two more things, Jonathan.
No, for it, I mean,
Declan was unbelievable last night.
he was really up for it, wasn't he? Even in the post-match
Apart
interview,
from
you
being
could
up
see,
for it,
yeah,
he was pacey. He
yeah,
was at it, and his touch was much better.
yeah,
His touch was much better. And the other thing is the connection with the fans. We were the club collectively was up for this. The fans played their part. The team responded. The team played their part. The fans responded, right? Um, and to be quite honest with you, I'm not going to start talking about the game on Saturday, but the fans need to do the same again on Saturday, right? None of this keyboard warrior stuff and all of that type of thing. Get into the stadium and support your team And I've said it before, and I'll be very unpopular on this show for saying it, because at the lane, that's what Tottenham do. They create an atmosphere there, and we've got to do the same. So it was a good night for us, and just my standout player, Dermot, for what it's worth for Tottenham, that Archie Gray is a real player.
It looks a talent, doesn't it?
I think when he's played in his proper position,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's from good football and stock.
Yeah, he'd be surprised if he wasn't. Yeah.
We're playing with his grandfather there, Eddie Gray. If he hadn't had a muscle injury, he'd been like there, Johan Cruyff there. No, he was like, he's from great football and stock. He's one to watch. He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be good when he gets a chance to play a bit more midfield. Yeah, definitely.
I thought Kulusevski was. I think it's a tribute to Miles Lewis Skelly. What he played, and I was because how quiet Kulusevski was, but also I was absolutely delighted that Kieran Tierney was thrown in with 15 minutes to go, and it was saying, Kieran, we want this game to settle down. We're parking you there because you have a job to do, and I think that would have meant a lot to him, you know, after being out of the team for so long. Yeah.
I think bringing him on in the North London Derby was a nice touch. Probably knowing that he's probably known that he's going. I
don't think it was a touch. This is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
This wasn't a pat in the head. This was Kieran. You have a job to do here. You're an important member of the squad while we have you, and go and do it. And I think as a professional, I think he'll take great pride in that. You know.
Yeah, and he is in every sense of the word a true professional. And being an Eamonn in the North London Derby last night, there's always an extra edge and spice to it. You know, you'll always get both sets of players up for it. But do you think from the previous night with Liverpool drawn to Nottingham Forest, there was a bit more incentive to, go out and get them 3 points?
Yeah, but you see, the problem with that is, and I've been at a couple of games this season where Liverpool have, on the rare occasions they drop points.
Yeah.
And sometimes it creates more nerves than atmosphere. And I think Dermot's got to something there. I think that our fans were getting nervy when we were, we were doing champagne stuff with no end product. I mean, that can be. I think Liverpool are playing on Saturday before us again, are they?
They're Saturday, I think. Yeah,
Saturday. Yeah.
It's 3 o'clock, I think, against.
You could get it. They're way at Brentford. You could get it. Now I don't watch other teams' fixtures. I mean, I just happen to know their way at Brentford. I just happen to say it coincidentally 48 times when I checked it.
But that game doesn't do his back.
I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game on Saturday. So you'd hope that the 5:30 kickoff will allow sufficient time for drink for the fans to get really up. So look,
Yeah, it was. It's. I thought, like we've been raving, I suppose, about Miles Lewis Skelly, but as Eamonn said, like in the North London Derby, you could see he was loving it, wasn't he, last night in that through ball?
I don't know whether you saw his interview. His interview was, I don't fear anybody, because I want to be the best, and to be the best, you have to be prepared to face the best.
It kind of gives you an aura of what Bukayo Saka is now in his interviews, isn't he? You can see he really wants, he's hungry.
He reminds me of what Ashley Cole was like before Ashley Cole had a personality transplant.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, he does remember. Yeah, Ashley Cole had that bite in him as well. Actually, yeah.
Cole believed he was good enough and played without fear, and that he believed that you can't fear. Like, if Miles Lewis Skelly marked Mo Salah, right? I'm not saying Mo Salah wouldn't do X, Y, and Z to him, but in Miles Lewis Skelly's mind, he's not going to do that. He has no fear.
Yeah, he's no fear. Yeah, and he's.
By the way, we have to be patient with him. He's a young lad, and somebody will give him the run around. Yeah. And it could be Mo Salah, or it could be somebody else. But you got to be patient with lads like that. But I like his raw attitude. But most of all, he's hardy. He doesn't.
He's a big lad, isn't he? Physically,
he's not that big.
And he's an eye for a pass.
He's hardy, right? But also he can play. He gets himself out of trouble.
Yeah, he done that a few times last night.
He's got fight. He's got fight, and he can go on low, and he's got an head. Yeah,
I think that last night's victory. Yeah, I think that it's a massive point in the season. I think anytime you beat your rivals, In terms of yourself, Dermot, I think it's November now since you last won in the league. Is there a bit of pressure, do you think, on Ange Postecoglou now? You know, or is the board looking at him now? Is he the right fit now, or would you be getting nervy yourself?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be getting nervy just yet. I think he's kind of safe insofar as the cup competitions will probably keep him in situ for a while.
Yeah.
They've got a second leg coming up against Liverpool in the League Cup, and
Yeah.
going to Anfield with 1-0 lead there, so that's a pretty solid place to be. Albeit that's going to be a particularly tough game, and they'll definitely still be underdogs in that. They also have the Europa League where I'm not sure if they're like technically qualified yet, but they're looking pretty comfortable, and they'll probably have a good run at that competition. And then they're still in the FA Cup mix as well, where I think they've got Villa away at some point coming up. So with those couple of games, the Europa League ones, I'm not sure when those are, but those are all kind of in the near future. He'll be in situ for those. At the same time, I think he's definitely in trouble, given you can't really expect, or at least there's a lot of football to be played in those in terms of winning a trophy. He's in trouble if they don't improve Premier League wise. 13th doesn't cut it, and that's not really good enough. And I think he's going to need to climb the table. They have got, as I think I mentioned previously, some pretty winnable fixtures coming up with Everton and Leicester next. I think that he needs to be probably winning both of those. But as I say, I don't think he's imminently looking at getting the sack. But at the same time, I think he could be in serious trouble if they don't improve the Premier League form soon. And then beyond that, then there'll be a bit of excitement around some of those cup games. And I do think, in fairness, looking at the Europa League, you never really know what that until you start getting properly into the kind of the knockout stages. But they would be one of the teams that you'd look at on paper and say that they could be in that mix and are probably capable of winning that squad wise, albeit, that's not a trophy that they've won. And I'm not sure if they've ever won it, but I mean, if it has, it's been quite a long time ago now. So look, they're in a decent-ish place. And he plays nice ball, but I think with Postecoglou as well, there's a funny kind of element of, I think you'd asked me the last time about whether they're able to sort of be a bit more pragmatic, and the answer was, well, no, they're not going to do that, and that's not how they play, and they don't seem capable of that. And if anything, injuries have kind of been able to kind of keep them on board in terms of justifying not being able to change, whereas most of the time if a team has a lot of injuries, you would think that you would make changes to reflect that rather than using it as a reason to not change, So look, that type of stuff could come back to bite us.
Dermot, I think that the Spurs fans that I talk to would be very, very mindful of. You can't really judge, a team that's putting out kids as centre halves. You can't at that level, and really, there'll be an expectation when the two centre halves return to start picking up league points.
Yeah.
I think when you get like you have about 9 or 10 injuries. I think when those key players come back for you, you probably will see a different Spurs as well.
I'll put it to you this way. Like what Spurs have been tugging out for the last 4 weeks, it'd be like if we had Aiden Heaven and Miles Lewis-Skelly playing as our two centre backs.
Yeah,
in fairness,
it's true. Yeah. The way Lewis-Skelly though, I don't think he fears. Yeah, he's happy enough to play wherever he's put. Yeah, I suppose like. I know it's probably only speculation at the moment for ourselves, but there's talk of the lad from, I think it's Real Sociedad, Zubamendi. I don't know how close we are to finalising that, but he looks a bit of a player as well, doesn't he?
My understanding is that deal is like Declan Rice.
Is it done?
My understanding is that Liverpool wanted to sign him last summer.
Yeah.
He wanted to stay at Sociedad. My understanding is that Mikel is from the same area as him, and Marino and Odegaard and him played together. My understanding is that his release clause will be triggered in the summer and he'll be signing for us.
Where do you think he'll settle into the team, Eamonn?
Well, Partey and Jorginho were going to be gone.
Do you think Partey will go? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he's having quite a season, isn't he, Partey? But he will be missed.
His attitude has been first class.
Yeah. I thought he'd done last night himself and Rice again, solid. Yeah. And as you said, in our analysis, Martin Odegaard was nearly back to his old self.
Our midfield was top last night.
He was dictating, wasn't he, all night? Yeah, he wanted to control the game, yeah. And another point as well, briefly, just aside from the match, I know myself and Eamonn were chatting about this last night as well. Really poor, I think, from the Arsenal fans, or if you could call them so-called Arsenal fans, to discuss an abuse Kai Havertz's wife has got on social media, and it's not right, is it?
These people, I'm going to call these people out, and they can come to my house anytime. They're keyboard warriors, they're cowards. They have no place following football. When it gets to the point where you're wishing a miscarriage on somebody, you really have to examine your own mental health. And actually, I don't normally use the vernacular. Just fuck off. Actually.
Yeah. I thought, when you're bringing people circumstances, I'm sure you're the same, Dermot, in a way. You've heard your own players being taunted when they miss big chances. At the end of the game, it's only a game.
You have to be calling that stuff out. That's not really acceptable. And look, there's been kind of various different stuff. Most football teams have a subset of fans that.
I think, sorry, Jeremy, what kind of shocked you more about the abuse that it was his missus actually came out on Instagram. It's very rare you see a player's wife coming out herself. So I thought, that's how disgusting that was. Yeah. There's no.
These are blowhards, people who are brave behind the keyboard. They're cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards.
Yeah. When I saw that on Monday, I says, when I clicked on it, I says, God, that's just, it's.
Threatening to flat pack Son Ming into a wardrobe in IKEA. I'm not actually serious.
I'm
not going to seek his wife out on Instagram and tell her that. I don't think he'd have an IKEA furniture anyway.
It's a particularly peculiar proposition in any case, yeah.
None of that Swedish shite for our man, Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was going to score. I didn't want to bet on it. Your man of the match from last night, Eamonn?
For me, I know they gave it to Gabriel. The two centre backs were brilliant. But I'm going to say Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, yeah. I thought I'd rather give mine to Leandro Trossard. I thought he had a great game as well last night, and that the way he took that goal, a powerful enough strike, the way and the celebration in front of the Spurs fans as well. Kind of have to give him the tongue in cheek. Yourself, Dermot, for yourselves.
On Spurs end of things, they wouldn't be obviously the man of the match on the evening that was in it. But yeah, I suppose. I think Berger was a standout for me in terms of he played some nice ball and some good stuff. And look, he was quiet for a start, but they all were, but he brought a bit to it second half. In fairness, it probably was. I would have thought Rice as well, actually, from the objective standpoint.
Yeah,
we don't like that here, though.
Yeah, your young lad, Prairie fella, he ran all night, didn't he? Some energy, and yes, and as I said, that result last night leaves us now with 43 points, 4 points off the pool, and they've obviously got that game in hand over Everton, and David Moyes seems to have a bit of a job in his hands there as well. Just been a good review show, lads. I know Eamonn's going over for the match of the weekend, so enjoy that, pal. And to Dermot, thanks very much for coming on for the preview show and tonight, and the very best of luck for the rest of the season. Catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and also on Spotify. Thanks to Martin Stoneville and the gang that put this together for us. And the next time will be the Aston Villa review on Monday evening. So until then, thanks very much and thanks for listening.
Cheers.